back, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few minutes away from game number 2 here, the best of 3 between Dignitas and Fnatic. But we do have an update from game number 1. It's the player of the game, and it could be the one and only Maniac on that Hercules, Brandon.
I mean, this is incredibly unsurprising to anyone who watched that match.
Yeah.
8-2-10 after what should have been first blood not in his favor, winds up getting it for his team with a perfect driving strike. He controlled the game, but what it really comes down to is this game ended on that boulder that he threw at Gold Fury, which I'm sure we're going to see very, very soon.
Wop, wop, wop. Viva Pinata, Brandon.
Look at that. Look at that, dude. What just happened?
Yeah, he was the eraser this game. He cleaned, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Big time. And then, you know, just sitting here, easy peasy, no trouble whatsoever. He set so much up for the team, and I think the Phoenixes actually fell because of him. He actually fought 2 people in the mid Phoenix while the rest of his team took the left, giving his team the opportunity. Yeah. That's what I want to see from more solo laners, using that frontline opportunity to control everything.
Well, control is the name of the game here. Let's take a look at the jungle control map. Back now for Season 2. And you can see Fnatic, 54% of the camps going their way. So what you're looking at here, the Pac-Mans, the blue team, it shows basically what percentage of the camps were taken by which team. Dignitas, I'm sorry, getting the slight advantage of the mid camps that game, but it wasn't enough. As you can see, maybe that right side blue buff is maybe the most interesting place. Actually, the outside lanes overall. As you can see, the speed buff and the blue buff were never taken by Dignitas from Fnatic, but Fnatic got it looks like twice a piece from each of them. So.
A little bit confusing to me considering they had the Heavy Hammer Osiris for the early invades. There should have been kills there, but he didn't go for it. Big thing to note there is Frezzy actually is able to take the only real jungle camps away. You see the bottom side neutral camp on the left and the red buff were both stolen one time apiece thanks to the support. But I think that might have also been his undoing in the game as he spent a lot of time looking for these opportunistic grabs and he wound up falling behind in experience.
Well, looking forward into Game 2, and kind of looking back at Game 1 and maybe what made Game 2, will make Game 2 interesting, I'm sorry. It's going to be how will Youngbei kind of come back after Reels finds a victory in Game number 1?
I don't see Anhur making it through again.
No?
I mean...
What about, you see Xbalanque? Because Reels not really a Cupid player.
That's true. We actually haven't seen him play too much Cupid, but Reels, I think, was the first person to really show us that Rama is, like, ridiculous. I remember saying, like, wow, look at how strong this god is on LAN, and it wasn't a LAN. They were playing an online tournament. I thought they were all there for the, I forget which invitational it was, but with that, you know, Reels shows affinity to being able to pick up new gods very quickly. So if he didn't have a Cupid, he sure as hell might now.
Well, we've seen him play. We've also seen him pick Xbalanque into Cupids before. It doesn't deter him, so Reels the man.
Yeah, I mean, last game did very well despite Youngbei having a pretty good early game, but we'll see.
We will see. And let's see right now. Picks and bans are ready for game number 2, guys. Let's get right into it. Dignitas versus Fnatic. They come crashing in. Fnatic on the top side, Dignitas now with the first pick on the bottom side of your screen.
Now, Fnatic was very opportunistic in their pick ban phase last time, grabbing every single god they possibly could have. I mean, getting Athena off the bat and, you know, coming in with a Thor on her. That was the dream draft for Fnatic. In my opinion, you know, I'm sure you guys have seen my tier list. Every single god that was on their team was rated like S or S+. I think they got 3 S+ gods there. But we're going back into the ban phase. Once again, we're going to see Serket taken away. I imagine Arachne as well. Option here to Fnatic where they're looking for their first ban. And, you know, they're probably not too threatened right now, but I love the Athena ban because they know they don't have first pick, and they know that Frezzy's going to take it.
Wait, do you mean to tell me the Dignitas are going to ban Serket and probably Arachne next, like they have in every other game they've played so far? My God, what a surprise!
You know, this is actually very interesting because from the very beginning of Smite, there has always been like, these players don't like to play against this specific strategy.
They don't like bugs.
And it has always been a detriment to whatever team that might have been doing it. So in this case, if you know they're going to Serket Arachne, this can change your pick ban phase entirely. And right now, with that happening, Fnatic might have an advantage here, but Thor, Anhur, still on the table right here. I assume one of them is going to be grabbed.
Yeah, ooh, what is first on? Oh, Poseidon. Okay, Poseidon for Dignitas.
Okay.
All right, Shadow Nightmare.
If there is one player in the entire world that would get Poseidon as a first pick, I would say it would be very close between Boosh and Shadow Nightmare because their accuracy is just bar none. Whereas MLC Stealth is someone's like, I'm going to wait and I'm going to hit this. He relies on his team. Shadow Nightmare and Boosh are like, 4 people are chasing me and I will kill all of them.
That being said, the biggest Poseidon performance so far in the Pro League was Sun Touch from London Conspiracy.
Very true.
We'll see exactly how Shadow Nightmare is able to wield the god of the seas and earthquakes. Fun to know. But Anhur will be first selection for Fnatic.
Got to be Thor.
And Thor as well, because, hey, why not? As you see, Captain Twig is currently in this season, although we haven't seen him much in the jungle, synonymous with Thor when he does play in that position. So, with the follow-up picks for Dignitas rounding out their first phase, they have the Poseidon. I will be surprised to not see Ymir drafted somewhere in here. Also, as I kind of mentioned earlier on the cast, they have been relying very heavily on Osiris and Hunbots, especially Hunbots for their jungler. But wouldn't be surprised to see Ymir in this first picking phase.
Xbalanque also on the table. Not, again, the greatest matchup against Anhur, but this is something that we've known Youngbait to be very comfortable with. Ymir going to be locked in there immediately. Whether this, again, goes to the jungle or to support is unbeknownst to us, but given the fact that Frezzy played it last game, it's pretty likely we'll see that happen again. But there are still a few Guardians on the table, but Xbalanque does get locked in.
So what is going to be the final draft for Fnatic here to pair with the Anhur Thor? As you mentioned, yeah, plenty of Guardians. Sylvanus and Bacchus both there. They can't bat out both of them. They're probably perfectly happy to play either. I know for a fact Badger loves him some Bacchus.
Badger seems to love everything this season.
Yeah.
But, like, he made his name on Bacchus, and with Bacchus getting buffed, that's a huge, huge deal for them. Fnatic grabbing away Janus as we go back into the ban phase here. Really strong option here for Fnatic is they're going to get first pick out of the ban phase, plus they're going to get last pick for counter pick potential. And with Maniac, who has one of the largest god pools in the solo lane, having that option, it's very likely we could see a counter matchup come out.
So Fnatic does think it's going to be Ymir in the jungle this game, and they ban away the Ares.
Okay.
So they're maybe going to try to force Dignitas to put Ymir back into that support role, as Aphrodite is banned out by the boys in yellow. Dignitas, not a bad ban up against Maniac, but I'm not sure, given how successful they were with a frontliner in the last game, they're willing to give that away, considering that their jungler is this Thor who's a little bit more of that assassin style. Janus also pretty elusive. And my guess here is they wouldn't have drafted the Janus had it not been for the Thor being able to be selected. Like, they want to put those together.
It's confusing to me that they gave away the Sylvanus, or picked Sylvanus there, because now they're giving away Bakasura, who with Aphrodite band is going without check here. And with that, I'm very much expecting that Bakasura is going to be picked up. Bacchus getting grabbed, which does put Ymir into the jungle. We're going to see the return of Frostyak's very dangerous jungle Ymir.
Yeah, it's hard, and you called it. Yeah, it is a Bakasura drafted by Dignitas there. And I think you're right. Not much of a surprise. The ban on Aphrodite kind of indicates they're looking for maybe some kind of assassin or something that definitely something melee, and one of the more favorable melee options as a damage dealer, especially with an Ymir jungle, is going to be your Bakasura. Pairs nicely as well with the magic damage versus physical damage split, or just the true damage from Bakasura.
Now, not a lot of options left here for Maniac. Generally speaking, there are certain mages that do well against Bakasura, but his remaining god pool doesn't really say to me that he has a great counter. He's going to lock into Tyr. Now, Tyr does have some sustainability, but remember, guys, Regurgitate will shut down both versions of Fearless. However, it will not stop the Lawbringer. So this could be very strange. It's a very awkward lane that they're getting put into. Same thing, Anhur and Sylvanus going up against Bacchus and Xbalanque. Both teams have great, and I mean great, kill potential at level 5, with a slight advantage, of course, to Fnatic.
Yeah, Tyr seems to be the odd man out here. I mean, I really like Tyr in situations where you have gods that don't easily build into beats 3. Like, they really want to sprint, like, really bad, like a Kali. Right? If there's a Kali in the game, it's like, yeah, Tyr makes a lot of sense because she's going to really want sprint and really want hog. Maybe you can force her to buy the beads to deal with you. Here, I don't see anybody that's not going to be buying the beads anyway. And also kind of, how is he going to survive this lane versus Baka? And what's the big CC he's shrugging off outside of the Ymir? That's the other thing that I look for when you're selecting Tyr, is that there's a lot of CC on the enemy team. But here, it's really just the Ymir, right? The cripple from Poseidon reapplies. It's not going to give him that benefit of that passive. And Frezzy's burp, I suppose he can shrug off some of that, but that's just not the most dangerous CC that you're really picking the Tyr for. So, Maniac, we're cut out for him. But another frontliner.
Captain Twig. Oh, my God. Please, with the shtick. He just walked past all 5 people to go place down the speedboard again, which, of course, again, is a man after mine own heart.
We're giving away stuff when there's double kills, guys. So, root for the double kills this game. We'll be giving away sweet, sweet codes for you.
Cool.
Yeah, exciting stuff.
We do have some invades coming out. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like any team is going to spot anyone else. Blue team kind of running out of time here. They can't really commit. Even 1 or 2 kills at this point could wind up being a detriment if they don't get to their jungle camps early enough. So it looks like everyone is going to rush back. The bottom side ward should do well enough to spot out Variety and Frostiak, as on the top side, Maniac and Captain Twig will be grouping up to clear. Overall, it looks like both teams have absolutely incredible early game push. Given the fact that Bakasura has Eat Minion, he's going to be able to just destroy. And Ymir actually having some of the best clear in the game at level 1.
Yeah, that Ice Carpet. Every 8 seconds you put that bad boy out, plus it gives you the bonus damage on your in-hands. But with this kind of passive meta start, it gives us an opportunity to introduce your teams for the second time today. It is Team Dignitas, this time playing from the blue side of the map, the left side of your UI. It's Variety in the solo lane as Bakasura, Frostiak in the jungle with his signature Ymir. Shadow Nightmare's Poseidon is the mid laner. Frezzy and Youngbei will be your duo lane for Dignitas as Bacchus and Xbalanque. Their opponents today, they're Fnatic. They're the red squad. They're top side of the map. There's a fight breaking out. As we ride along with Fnatic's Maniac, who is your solo laner, Captain Twig in the jungle, Zero's the mid, Badger and Reels, your dual lane, Sylvanus and Anhur.
There is a one Hand of the God starting meta coming out right here from Team Dignitas. Neither Ymir nor Bakasura has purchased Hand of the Gods. Now, generally speaking, only having one between the two can be very strong, but having none, this is a risky play.
Yeah, just Bacchus, the only hand. So, is there some kind of strategy you think they're running out of this, or is it mostly just, okay, I want a heavy hammer, so I'm not going to be able to afford it, and Ymir gets a purple pot, not a hand? Or do you think there's some kind of like, we're going to take shells and weakening curses?
For me, I know Ymir is going to want Blink and needs some kind of defense, and if you can give Bacchus sprint and beads, or rather beads and shields of the underworld, or something similar, he is going to be so much more scary. His Fist of the Gods really isn't something that Bakasura needs.
No.
With that, Maniac being very aggressive here, will take some damage from archers. Variety trying to use that heavy hammer appropriately, but Maniac undeterred here. But interesting note, Maniac is actually opting to level Fearless. This is not something we see a lot from solo laners anymore, as Power Cleave is generally perceived as the better route thanks to the healing increase that happened about 2 months ago.
I think he's just looking at Bakasura with an assassin's health pool and thinking,
I can kill you.
A couple fearless chains. You know, this is not going to be too much problem for me. So as you see it there, not even electing to use a power cleave at the end of it for the bonus knockback. It's just smacking around with the fearless every once in a while and try to maintain your lane equilibrium versus the Bakasura.
You know, I like this. I like the fact that he switched it up. It's kind of Divios-esque in terms of when we saw Divios play against an Apollo with Fenrir, and instead of leveling the Brutalize, level the Jump. Not only is it going to have better clear, but it stops Apollo from having that great advantage. With that, we're going to take a look at the rather strong meta coming out from the duo lane. Bacchus getting grabbed here with Xbalanque, two of the highest picks.
Frosty.
Knock
up onto Real. It's going to force the leap, trying to make it into position as Frosty is going to get slowed down, and now going to force a turn onto Badger. Do they have the damage as the slow comes out from Xbalanque with the dot on top of it? Frezzy can't re-engage. He's blown his spells, plus he's a little bit too weak as the ultimate comes out from Janus on the rotation.
That's a crack.
Already here, and it's a Kraken on top of Badger, but it's off the mark. Pushes him back into the Whirlpool, though, to Shadow Nightmare with a Tidal Surge, finding a kill nonetheless. It's Twiggy on the backside of this fight, trying to hold Bay in position so the rest of the team can come in, but Fnatic just too low on MP to really continue in. And now it's Reels double slowed inside the Whirlpool, going to take some additional damage, but Frostiak may have overreached himself. It's a complete, absolute bloodbath with only one kill, and it goes to the credit of Dignitas. First blood on their side.
Shadow Nightmare's rotation was beyond impressive. Not only did he rotate and get first blood, but he out-rotated Janus. I mean, that is something that generally doesn't happen, though Poseidon does have a lot of movement speed between his passive and Trident activation. He still out-rotated a Janus who can teleport through walls. I mean, he literally travels through time.
That's
it's crazy.
That's probably a factor of how well Shadow Nightmare, well, just Poseidon in general, is able to clear the wave. Probably cleared it out, started his rotation. Janus had to finish clearing the wave and then use it through space and time. And as you mentioned, the rotation, not fast enough to secure anything for the team out of zeros. And in fact, probably ever so slightly less XP efficient than what Shadow Nightmare was able to do. So should be a bit of an advantage. Should see a level 7 coming out of the Poseidon a little bit before we see zeros making it back up to parity.
You know, that's right. And while we don't see a huge gold difference right now, in fact, it's only about 200 in favor overall from Team Dignitas, and that's not even wave to wave. We're going to actually see a pretty large advantage in experience for Fnatic to the tune of about 1,100. Also, big steal coming out from Variety.
Let me have that. He just asked if he could hold it, and then he took it. And now they're going to turn their attention to the blue buff as well, where Young Maniac's going to be forced to use the Lawbringer ultimate over the wall just to survive. It's another camp that's going to be at least aggressed by the boys in blue of Dignitas here. Amir's still there. Frosty trying to clean that one up, but he doesn't have a hog. It's going to take him a while, and the rotations are coming their way.
Doesn't have
Thor's
a lot of
up.
mana here. Variety might be dead off this one. I don't know. Yes, he actually does have just barely enough mana. He'll have enough for one spell, but here comes Shadow Nightmare. Kraken gonna hit Twig in the middle. Everyone else on the outside. Double kill possibility here, but Variety gets stopped by the portal again, and he's gonna be sent back. It looks like they will gain a 1-kill advantage here in that team fight, as the rest of the team is able to back.
With the speed buff on Bakasura, that was a big portal from Zeros. He goes one way, portals the other, stops the Bakasura, and it most likely prevents an additional kill coming out, as he would have been able to run down most likely that Sylvanus pretty easily.
I think a fair prediction here is that if it does get to Game 3, Serket or Arachne is going to make it through, because they have got to do something about Zeros' Janus.
Yeah, you think it's really that big of an impact on the game?
I mean, the guy has been unstoppable with this character. The way that he has positioned portals, the way that he has kited, he has been defensive for his team. You know, Zeros is still pretty fresh to the role, and if he's playing this well with a god and he's playing it twice in a row, if I was managing that team, I'd be like, listen, you got to force him into something else. You're going to have to deal with a bug. Pick one.
Yeah, well, you know, we're not going to see a second game. Or a third game, I'm sorry, if they have to ban out Zeros as Janus, right? I mean, if he has a performance like he did last game and is that dominant, it's going to be very tough for Dignitas to win. So I guess what I'm saying here is that I doubt they're going to ban out the Janus in the third game, because they're going to have to win this one to be able to get to that position. At that point, they'll be like, we can beat the Janus. Let's ban out something that gave us a bunch of trouble. Maybe the Anhur going to go there out as the ban, I think, just because he made it through the first 2 games. Janus, I don't know. That would be my guess, is Anhur goes.
Zeros throws the blink out, might be in some trouble as the belly flop does connect. Kraken right in the center here, but through space and time. Okay, so I'm going to go back to you must ban the Janus. We got blink, we got a belly flop, we got a perfect Kraken inside of a whirlpool, and my man's just like, well, see ya. We'll see you later.
Yeah, that's... You know, it's a little surprising that maybe we don't see more things like winged wands on Janus. Just give me a little bit more HP, because you see just how good he is at escaping with very, very low HP values.
Now, looking back here at the solo lane, Maniac has once again opted for the rather North American meta of Hand of the Gods directly into teleport. Oh, wow.
I'll fight you underneath your tower.
He doesn't even have power cleave. He doesn't use both. It's a combo. He doesn't care. Why doesn't he care?
That's a bonus knockback, just not bonus damage. So he says, you know what, I'm just going to level up the Fearless and try to control the lane. And he's done so.
Actually, he leveled the Fearless up to level 4, but now has 3 points into power cleave. So he's going into a different route now, looking for more sustainability. That is incredible knowledge of character, far, which has exceeded almost every other tier player at this point. Extremely mathematically sound, and this is not something I think anyone would normally get behind, but he is winning a lane that technically he shouldn't.
Also with a god that we haven't seen Maniac play so far in competitive Smite, and also not something that's generally speaking in his wheelhouse, but we can see the player has been in the lab getting more and more of these frontline warriors into his god pool. Once a player that was really kind of, I guess, shoehorned into more the Changas and the Aphrodites and the kind of healing, sustain-based, elusive solo laners, showing us he can do it in the front lines. We saw shades of it at the World Championships as well, as he started to incorporate it into his god pool more and more.
Oh, that could be trouble here. No, Bakasura beautifully going to try to turn this one around. You can see Captain Twig actually learning the better of that one. He will escape again. Honestly, with the way that I saw the Lawbringer going in place, you could have expected Thor to be on the other team, but they didn't find the line that they needed to stop Variety here. Option majorly to Maniac.
It's the orange buff that's going to be contested now by Shadow Nightmare. He's going to throw the crack into this one as well, but it's the quick beads into Hammer.
Poor Shadow Nightmare has had like the best Krakens that we've seen in so long, and everyone's just like, well, CC immunity, bye.
Cooldown boots. Cooldown boots, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Had he had power boots, those are kills, but he gets more Krakens and more attempts. They just haven't been able to secure them, unfortunately. And it's Janus and Tyr. How do you? They beads, they're gone.
That's the difference, right? You're going to get more Krakens, right? But they're not going to be able to kill people. In this case, it seems like, while we can't say it would have been better, because who knows if they would have actually, had enough damage to really take it down, the extra attempts haven't really dictated a win so far. So with that, we're going to need to see more rotations coming out from Shadow Nightmare. This Kraken needs to be used on cooldown for it to really be as strong as those boots are going to make it out to be.
Yeah, until he gets another damage item under his belt, and then he'll have maybe more kill potential again. But without that early snowball, golden XP coming in, you can see Dignitas falling behind more and more in experience, now almost to the tune of 2K, as there's level 15s, I'm sorry, level 15. There's level 11s abound on the side of Fnatic, where Dignitas still sitting at level 10 across 3 players. So a little bit better distribution perhaps on the side of Dignitas, but it's Fnatic with the experience lead.
You know, this time it's a little bit strange because Reels fell behind Youngbei in the last game because Badger just wouldn't leave the lane. This time, Badger has been rotating a lot. Despite not being a part of a lot of kills so far, he has been all over the place, which has given a decent advantage to Anhur, at least in the early game. This is Gold Fury?
Yeah, it's a deep dive on the right side, so it leaves a lot of the map open. Variety and Frostiak trying to do work. Maniac thought about trying to turn that one around. Now let's hop over to the Gold Fury, where Fnatic has secured it already. Oh, and the Kraken once again, but it splits the goalpost there. He doesn't get maximum damage onto either target. Twig, oh, that, ooh. We're going to talk about that one later, but Shadow Nightmare, he may be fast enough, not quite yet, as the portal is on the mark yet again. Frostiak, the carpet, off the mark for Twig. It's the hot from Badger to keep Thor alive, and now it's Frostiak pinned underneath his tower. They dive successfully on the right side as Dignitas, but they lose the Gold Fury plus 2 more. Fnatic with the big advantage now.
So I think the big thing there is that Captain Twig had a small amount of diminishing returns on him, and Ymir has only level 2 freeze. So with that, Thor was able to actually escape from this. But that right there, everyone, every single person should have taken note on that play because 2 people rotated to solo, Maniac kept them busy, and then right there Fnatic took the Gold Fury. That should be in almost 100% of the games that we watch. If you rotate to solo, if you put yourself in a bad spot in the early game for your team not to have the power play, the team with it should immediately rush down that objective, and they do. 1,500 free gold is going to extend their lead to 2,100.
Right. Unable to gobble up that minion, Maniac secures the buff for himself. They'll make the lane a bit easier for him. And, well, that's maybe one of the biggest things that Anhur brings to the table in terms of overall gameplay. Now, of course, with his just really, really dominant clear in the dual lane can be that kind of I'll fight you in the lane style of powerhouse. But outside of the laning phase, it's the Gold Fury where he really shines. And you see Fnatic able to secure it there. It's a pluck back onto Frezzy. But it's not enough damage. They just tickle him down to about half health, and he'll drink that one away. Drink his woes away and fall back and heal.
You know, I obviously, you're right, not enough damage to kill, but I think it might have been enough damage overall to deter, because Frezzy, who is right now even experienced with Sylvanus, is not in a great spot to continue pressure. His rotation might spell his own disaster, as there is major pressure going over here towards the right side.
It's Xbalanque ultimate to start things off, and neither team looking too excitable. Captain Twig, the second that the Kraken starts coming his way, takes to the sky, and he's out okay. It's Shadow Nightmare who may be in some troubles. Bad just dots enough to kill him. There's the Intoxicate coming out from Frezzy. It kills off Captain Twig, the elusive Thor assassin. A double Fearless, but where's the follow-up damage? Just zeros, no cooldowns available. Is that going to hit on the backside? It will. Variety takes the spill, and now Frostiak, he's going to fall down, gets over the wall, charging forward still as Maniac. Zeros. The Unstable Vortex a little bit too short that time. No more coming their way, but Fnatic once again, they come out ahead in that fight, I think, as Reels, especially as Reels solos down Bay.
Reels right there.
Going for the back pedal now.
Desert Fury right through the tower, and Youngbei tried to escape from it. It was a too little, too late situation. This is the strongest Fnatic has looked to me since Scrims at Worlds.
They get 2 tier 2s here, maybe 3. Tier's going to proxy farm behind the tier 1 and get his wave right up to the tower. Anhur, he sees the next wave coming in and realizes it's time for him to back, as it's going to go down as well. Janus pressuring the mid lane. It's a big influx of gold on the back of those fights won around the map for Fnatic. 3,600 gold, nearly 7,000 experience their way. Zeros, he'll take some damage, but oh, he can do that.
Look at the teleport coming in from Maniac. Frostiak not in a great spot there, but Frezzy with great peel. And there comes Shadow Nightmare as well. 5 seconds till the Kraken's up there. Not going to have the line for it just yet. A rather pretty absurd, random team fight that might have happened right there. But still, Fnatic maintains their lead.
Twig poking away at the 3 members of Dignitas that are piled up in mid lane. Fnatic looks like they're once again in the driver's seat. Now, last game, they gave up a huge fight to Dignitas at the Fire Giant in a similar situation with a roughly similar lead. So that's kind of the question here is can they take this one maybe a little bit easier into the later stages of the game, or can Dignitas resurge to the mid game again?
So, you know, we always talk about how come we're not seeing more Janus, right? This is something that happens all the time, and a lot of the pros will always dictate the same answer, and it's inconsistent damage. But for me, this game, it feels like some of those players might need to take some pages out of Zeros' book here, despite the fact that he is 200 behind Poseidon. Poseidon only offers one thing, and that's damage, comparatively to the amount of saves so far that Janus has made for his team, the amount of rotations that have happened. And so far, for me, Zeros has not looked to be damaging people inconsistently.
And the bait.
Oh, yeah, the baits are gnarly.
I mean, it's like you gotta execute Janus at a high enough level that they're forced to try to fight you in the team fights, and then you can really abuse your elusiveness. And that's what we're seeing out of Zeros. He's executing it really, really well. And does he? Is it just the green glow from his skin, or does he have a winged one? I can't tell. I'll wait to see the items again. It's Frostiak is a little bit isolated here, and the double tap will clean him up. There's a spirit gun as well on top of it.
Yeah, he tries it, doesn't really find anything. Just trying to make sure he secures the kill and cuts off the path. Twig is clearly drunk. Well, I thought he would be. Frezzy did not decide to throw the ultimate out.
Yeah, not going to get intoxicated there. Twig just takes the sky to try to avoid any further damage, and more often than not, that's been the name of the game for the Thor here. He gets piled onto and then ults away, and sometimes he re-engages and dies, but he's been pretty safe and had pretty good timing. I'm going to throw those ultimates out. Twig, good game sense so far. It's a Gold Fury started up, though, from Fnatic here. Dignitas trying to rotate over in time. Real's happy to kind of solo this one down for the moment as the rest of the team zones.
Ooh, good pull. That's going to be a stun as well. Damage coming through.
Can Maniac close the distance? No, they pull him back, and that's going to mean that Real's going to go back and start attacking the objective again. Shadow Nightmare. He's going to try to save Frezzy with the Fearless Chain is there. Where's the power cleave, damn it?
Why won't he use it properly? With that Maniac.
Okay, yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
But the Gold Fury is almost dead at this point. They're trading out a solo laner who, in a matchup that he shouldn't be winning, is winning. So he can afford to be down for a little while. For a Gold Fury, hell yeah, man. Fnatic definitely calling worth on that one. Variety, goodbye!
Ooh.
Reals, though.
He only has sprint 3, you know. That's where maybe those beads would have been a little bit better.
You know, we actually wound up citing a few players last week continuously buying beads Hand of the Gods instead of the, of the beats, right? I mean, the sprint 3, it's not strong enough because if you get put in a situation where you can't get out of CC as a squishy, I mean, you will be burned down. That's the nature of the entire class. You know, we see Kali played so much, and in the beginning, people tried to play her with sprint. She fell out of favor. People started playing her with beads. She came back. Yeah. And with this, same thing for Bakasura. He purposely did not pick Hand of the Gods so he could do the sprint beads activation, and yet went full sprint before deciding to go into beads even when he was losing. Very greedy.
He just got greedy. It's going to be the Ick into Odysseus bow build, looks like, coming out here out of the Bakasura. Seems to be kind of in vogue, at least, the Odysseus bow for Baka. How do you feel about it?
The oboe does a lot. I mean, the damage it puts forth is very close to ridiculous. The issue is that damage is directly based on how much damage you already have. It's a scaling item, which means right now Bakasura is not going to have too much. If he finishes this first, he's really looking just more for attack speed and getting that true damage off.
Yeah, try to get more out of your ultimate, and then once your next damage item comes up, you can get something decent out of the procs from the lightning there. So
I think I would like to see a Bloodforge or something similarly damaging to make that oboe scale just a little bit better and keep him in team fights for longer. But right now, Bakasura, level 13 with that build, unless he finds a very specific one-on-one fight, he is not bringing a lot to the table.
Bloodforge seems like a great, just synergistic item with Bakasura that we just don't ever see, really, right?
Yeah.
He's going to always hit people 3 times. He's going to get a lot of benefit out of it, and it's definitely a cost-effective item versus especially the Devourer's Gloves when you look at what it brings to the table after those 3 hits. Executioner, also a popular item for Bakasura, so curious to see that Bloodforge more often.
Although if he goes into Oboe and Executioner with his passive, it's very likely at this point, especially with scaling from level, that he will overcap his attack speed. Remember, there is a cap of 2.5 attacks per second in Smite, and with that, I don't know if Baka can safely build that way without overcapping. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, also very popular in Bakasura builds at one point was Fatalis, which is another, just kind of, it shows you exactly what this character looks to do. He stacks attack speed, gets maybe 1 damage item, and then looks to just blow up the whole team.
Right. I mean, the attack speed scales very well with Bakasura considerably because he's applying his 3, which is Butcher's Blades, which is giving him 5 seconds of true damage on all of his auto attacks. So the more attacks you get off, the more true damage you do. So technically your scaling overall is better. But in the current meta, there needs to be some kind of sustainability because everyone is very, very bursty.
Frostiak and Maniac, they're dueling it out around the tier 2. And, well, Dignitas looks like they're considering fighting the Lawbringer here as they're piling in on top of him. He walks through the Whirlpool. He ults away as well. Shadow Nightmare Kraken's on the mark, but it's not enough to pick up the God of Justice.
Variety going in. Real's in a lot of
kill.
trouble, but Badger with the raw pull.
Can I have that? He just asked him to come back over and hang out with him instead of trying to kill his carries. It's a nice wall there. Great positioning by Captain Twig. They're trying to burn down Fnatic for the ultimate goes off. They won't get it, but they will get Shadow Nightmare as well as a kill onto the Ymir. This could very well be a wipe for Dignitas as they have the Janus just so mobile. You can see him charging forward. Maniac on the tier. Dun 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 dun. The claps from Frezzy, gotta love it. Power Cleave does hit, he dodges the Fearless. The burp gonna be on the mark. No!
Wow!
The last in hand smacks him down. Maniac seals the deicide for the team.
So
and,
now they have a choice. Phoenix
yeah.
or Fire Giant, right? Phoenix or Fire Giant. It looks like they're going to choose Fire Giant. A few of their members are pretty low. Oh, it's double kill. Hey, look, there's a code. Oh, that's a good code.
That is a good code. Triple D.
Daisy, Despair, Scylla. This is one of my favorite skins in the game, mainly because it says Daisy.
Okay. You heard it here first. Fire Giant. Gonna fall to Fnatic. No contention, obviously, as Dignitas is just
and look at Maniac.
fledgling out of the well.
You see him on the bottom taking small camps. He's like, you don't need me. I'll get some extra experience here.
No, Maniac definitely playing a different style of game here in Season 2 than we saw in Season 1. Seems to be much more dominant, kind of assertive player here.
Much more confident. I think his fourth place placing at Worlds, when a lot of the casters even expected them to win the entire thing, I think he got hungry. This looks like a much hungrier player than we saw in Season 1. And, it's what a weird thing. Yeah, we only won like, $200-something thousand. We're mad, right?
They've built this advantage. I didn't realize how big this gold has slid.
Oh, it's incredible.
11,000 gold, 17,000 experience.
Without level 20s.
Well, yeah, exactly. So that's all that's
big game.
Real experience, right? That's the advantage. As you mentioned, no one is overcapping yet. So a little bit of a skirmish here off the left side of mid. But it's mostly just Fnatic toying around with the idea of kind of just forcing a Gold Fury and saying, come fight us.
Maniac is actually forcing over the right side, so they have a choice to make. Are they going to defend the split push? And it looks like they will. Free Gold Fury. And they're not going to spend the gold right away, which means not a huge advantage right now. But, I mean, they have Fire Giant. They have a huge lead, which was almost 11K before the Gold Fury. I expect that they'll get at least both Tier 2s and one Phoenix on this push.
Okay. But you think, yeah, maybe. It depends on how many they kill at this defense of the Tier 2 and whether or not Dignitas likes to stage it, I think, more or less.
Maniac is swinging. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, they get the tap coming out from the Thor. Oh, he's going to go over the top with the beads as well. Getting very, very low as Shadow Nightmare's Poseidon, at least forced out of the fight for now. Maniac forced back into the Fearless chain. Over the top comes Swig. He's now deep in this fight. And they're going to clean up at least one. Down goes the low mobility Frostiak.
Is this the game?
Bakasura running forward. It's a little early to call it here, as it's going to be the resurgence of Shadow Nightmare. And he has still a Kraken available, so I'm saying this one's going to be forced to use it defensively more or less to try to save his teammate who may get run down. All the same, Bakasura for variety in an awkward spot. Twig.
Nope, not going to get away.
He ran into the Whirlpool to throw the hammer.
But Maniac is back. He teleports real deep into the back line, forces Bakasura to jump away here. But look at this, Janus right in, shotgun, one shot from Real's going to bring him down. Final Tier 2 standing, and it looks like this one's going down as well.
Yeah, now that Reals has joined the fight again, it's very, very heavily in favor of the boys of Fnatic. And well, you were right. It's both Tier 2s and the Phoenix in mid lane that have gone down on this engagement.
I'm not going to count that as a win because I didn't expect they were going to take the Phoenix before the other Tier 2. That's crazy. And with that, Fnatic's lead has become astronomical, possibly insurmountable. They're going to need... This is much less now about player skill, and it's much more about luck. Do they accidentally group up against a Kraken, right? Are we going to see a 3 or 4 man belly flop into Intoxicate? Can Frostiak actually get off the entire Ymir ult? These questions have to be answered with yes and thank God. Otherwise, this game is just going to be steamroll for the next 3 minutes.
It's the dream initiation has to happen for Dignitas, but it needs to happen on the Fnatic side of the map for them to really capitalize on it. If you notice, not a single structure has fallen yet for Fnatic, so there's a lot of gold sitting on the board. If only Dignitas can capitalize, they can recoup a lot of this tower gold.
Bart, it looks like Captain Twig heard us, and this time we'll be going into Crusher instead of Brawler's Beatstick.
Hey, look at him go.
Hey, but I mean, now there's a Phoenix down already, though.
Yeah, but hey, there's still more Phoenixes to beat on all of his penetration.
Yeah, that's true. And the Titan, to be fair. Does the Titan proc Crusher? Who knows? I mean, realistically, that question might not even matter. Heavenly Agility going to be popped for the initiation here. Here comes the Kraken, hits no one in the center except for Reals, and they do get a clean pickoff. This is actually really good for Dig.
It is, but here comes the HP regen. If Maniac can stall this fight out long enough to keep people alive, they're going to get a bunch of their health back, but they seal the deal on 2, and most importantly, the Anhur was killed by Team Dignitas, and that should keep them alive and kicking here, at least for the next few minutes. Thor down as well, so a lot of their, like really all their structure damage is gone. As Dignitas continues to surge forward, Ymir really dictating the pace of that fight, and they save themselves the base.
Yeah, right there. This is a good win for them. It's not a great win. Even if they wind up getting the deicide off this, you should consider the fact that they don't really have any major tower pressure with all 6 being up. They don't have a major win condition here, and Fire Giant's not available. Did Maniac go back in?
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Wow. Teleport,
and they kill
man.
Bay. That's a huge
That
pick.
is the power of teleport. That's how teleport should be used in the end game. Not to cross from lane to lane, but to fight, go back to the base, heal up, and then fight again, especially as a frontliner. Getting 2 full health bars on a tier, like, what else could you possibly want?
Okay, here we go. Ymir, he's going to make some plays. Bakasura able to
wait.
chomp away while they're CC'd down. The Chain Lightning doing a lot, given their close proximity. But Maniac is just too strong.
I don't think Zero's recognized the fact that Cripple stops you from going through the portal there, because he kept trying.
Yeah, that's not an interaction you're used to. Maniac continues to dodge everything here. He stayed alive for basically forever, and it means Fire Giant is going to go back the way of Fnatic because they've got to start it up. I'm not sure Dignitas can respond in time.
Look at Twiggy tank this thing, man. Absolutely flawless so far. Let's see what they do with the mud. And look at him place it all the way in the corner and then teleport. Okay, he didn't get it perfectly, but that was one of the most cute things I think I have ever seen. He actually tried to activate the teleport on the exact timing of it to make sure he didn't even take a tick. He was off by about 1/10 of a second, but hot damn was that impressive.
Hot plays with the hot puddles coming
Leads
out
to hot buffs
from Captain Twig, and it leads to the hot buff. As there's an ungodly large experience difference, but as the players are hitting level 20, it's meaning less and less in terms of how much further Fnatic's getting ahead.
But
it's
I
more
mean,
the gold.
15K? That's a Deathbringer per person, right? I mean, that's what you're looking
Okay,
at.
yeah.
You're close to a Deathbringer and or Rod of Tahuti per person.
So luxury item ahead per character.
That is scary. Very, very scary. It looks like the biggest difference right now is going to be Twig versus Frostiak with a 4,200 gold lead.
I'm going to say it's in the support category with a 3-level advantage for Badja.
Ooh.
Plus a Lotus Crown on top of the Heart Word and Sovereignty combination, just a Sovereignty on the side of Badja.
The issue now is they have no healing reduction, right, against Sylvanus. Maybe not the most important thing, but if you have Wisps on you, plus Anhur, swinging away with those Dev's Gloves, it's hard to take that kind of stuff down.
Not to mention the plus 20 Protect All from the Lotus Crown that is going to stay on for a long, long time with old Sylvanus.
It's 5 seconds,
hot.
yeah?
Yep.
Jeez, man. 20 protection, 20 magical protection. Then they're also going to get 20 from Sovereignty and Heartward Amulet. Wow. There is no Heartward Amulet right now on Bacchus.
Right, yeah, the magic damage
He
doing
is
work.
2.5 items behind. That is one of the biggest differences I think I've ever seen. And this is not to try to downplay Team Dignitas. Remember, they lead the spring split at this point with Fnatic actually being tied into second place. This is actually, if they can take this, force a tie for first.
So the fight's breaking out, but I'm pretty sure there's a heavenly agility onto the Bacchus here is actually what he elected for as a second active item. Spent an extra 600 gold there, and maybe that, helping us understand the gap between the two players. It's a brilliant initiation by Captain Twig there. It's going to find two. It's going to result in the death of the tank. Maniac, he's going to charge through Shadow Nightmare, who does have the beads active. Fearless will just go right through him. Frostiak will fall as well to Reels, as the Phoenix will go down as well to Anhur, and now it's the 5-man push into the base. Variety and Shadow Nightmare here.
Pretty big desperation play coming out from Shadow Nightmare. Throws the Kraken immediately onto Twiggy, and Twiggy just beads it and walks away. Once that Kraken was down, they really had no amount of fighting back to do. Their mage damage was gone, and now Reels freely tanking up, almost sending Young Bae back to the base the hard way, but he just kind of steps into the fountain himself. Titan falling below 3/4 here as Young Bae attempts to make some kind of presence known, and for some reason, we are going to see the boys on Fnatic let this go for now.
They want a creep wave to take out. Yeah, the last Phoenix maybe to go down. The Titan does regen back up to about 90% now as it gets leashed. So they're gonna play it disciplined, we'll say here. And,
I like the gusto though coming right out there from Zeros. He teleports over to get those creeps in there more healthy and more quickly. With that Titan at about 88% right now as the final Phoenix will fall. Variety coming up in 8. Shadow Nightmare still down for 20.
Well, Frostiak, he rezzed, and he got up, and then he died to the crits. And it looks like the rest of the team will also die to the crits of Reels here at 30 minutes.
This is a double kill?
This is a triple for Reels. That's another code coming your way. A diddly side for Fnatic, and a victory in the best of 3. They take it away in 2 games straight. Anhur, they win the game for 30 minutes, and Anhur stays strong the whole time. That's just what he does.
This is why Fnatic was 4th place at Worlds, was invited to Worlds, dominated at LANs. That was the team we have been expecting to show up since the first week, and if they keep playing like that, everyone in Europe, everyone should be very afraid.
Yeah, we learned a little bit more about Team Dignitas, their relative strength in the European scene. Fnatic showing us they can be knocked off of the ball there. A pretty Daisy to Sparcilla for that last double kill there. It was a triple, actually, so congratulations to Reals, who I will be pretty surprised if it's not the player of the game, but we'll find that a little bit later, won't we?
I mean, I think it's pretty hard to call player of the game from that one. I think everyone played unbelievably.
Really well, it's First Blood that we do have ready for you, so let's take a look at that bad boy. And once again, a very action-packed game. It seems like so long ago that we saw this First Blood come out, and it was to the credit of Shadow Nightmare here. It's the title surge you got to look at that knocks him back into the Whirlpool.
Smart.
To get that kill. So Shadow Nightmare from Team Dignitas. Well, he finds himself a First Blood, but unfortunately, not a game win.
And with that player of the game, as Bart predicted, Reals X. I mean, this guy, I mean, he's 10-1-6 as Anhur, you know, currently considered the top hunter by most. Dominated his lane extremely well for so many Gold Furies, which was the real strong play. And I almost wish we can hear their comms. For those of you who have not been blessed enough to join us at LAN, know that every time Reals gets a kill, there is a lot of yelling, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely an emotional player. It was one of the more bummed out people that I saw. But yeah, this is where the crits really, really come through. And this is the final double kill here. And we mentioned it's Ymir reses, Ymir dies to crits, then Xbalanque dies to crits, then Janus dies to crits, then Bakasura, well, yeah, you know what happens to him. You already know what happened to him. So the Titan also going down there as well. Fnatic takes it away, guys, and we have Reals on the line, my friends. Marcus, are you there?
I'm here, Bart. Hello.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Tell me about Anhur. Best hunter or no?
He's pretty good, I would say. What do you think? I played him pretty well, I think.
I think so. I think so, definitely. A lot of it seemed to have to do with Anhur's control of the Gold Fury situation, right? So tell us a little bit about that, especially in Game 2. A lot of times we saw the team, especially Maniac, engaging really deep and you peeling back to take the Gold Fury. Is that by design, or is that you kind of making the hot play?
Yeah, that's by design. Maniac has that in his mind. He knows what he's doing. He's a smart player. He's not doing it for no reason. And, yeah, we were just capitalizing on it.
Tell me a little bit about Maniac's continued transition away from what was Season 1's very mage-oriented solo lane. We saw shades of it in the SWC, him playing more tanky targets. And now here in Season 2, it's a Hercules and Tyr dominant games back-to-back. Is that a concentrated effort to improve the God pool, or is that the meta dictating what you have to play?
I think it's more the meta than anything else. He likes to play them gods, which is obviously a bonus, but it's definitely more the meta than anything else.
Let's talk a little bit, and we haven't really harped on this enough. Zeros and Twiggy do the swap, which I think is a really good idea. I mean, the way that they've been playing has been incredible, but tell us about the decision-making process. What was going through your guys' heads? Why did you really want to make this happen?
Well, Zeros likes to play mages a lot, and
Vulcan
Twig
jungle.
plays Vulcan jungle, Poseidon jungle, even Janus jungle sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't work, but we were happy to try it. So he likes to play mages. Twig likes to play everything. Twig wanted to have a go at the jungle. Zeros wanted to have a go at the mid. I thought it would work, so why not give it a try? So we gave it a try, and it seems to be working out pretty well for us at the moment.
We're seeing Captain Twig really heavily favor Thor, especially out of the jungle.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys really like to pair with the Janus, or I mean, this basically the drafting phase in these games seemed to be like you got whatever you wanted. Is that kind of how you felt as well?
Yeah. I'm not too sure really. It was trying to take stuff away from them as well at the same time. So we might have got stuff that we wanted, but at the same time we were trying to take stuff away from the enemy team as well, so they couldn't pick it. And Thor is obviously a great pick in the jungle. Twig likes to play it. He likes to play other junglers. It was just, I think, taking it away from Dignitas as well. Like, we didn't have to play against Thor, which was obviously a main factor in that game as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Reals. Thanks for joining us as well. Any shout-outs or call-outs before you go?
Just shout out to my team for playing amazing these 2 games. Shout out to Fnatic and all the sponsors, obviously. And all the fans that are supporting us, everyone that's supporting us through Season 2 and our new partnership with Fnatic. Thank you very much.
Always a politician for reals there, guys. And that wraps up our coverage of set number 1 out of Europe today. We got another set, best of 3, coming your way, Brandon. Tell us a little bit about this one. Get me hyped up for it.
AFK Gaming, formerly Melior, Morier, formerly Complexity, formerly Snipe, going to be going up against third-place contenders from the World Championships. Now, Team Solo Mid. Now, this for me, as you know, I'm a solo lane player, so this is the dream matchup in North America. The top 2 Theory Crafters are going to be Cyclone Spin and Divios. They battle out, but I mean, the rest of these lineups are incredible. I mean, just the dual lane by itself, you know, I mean, just this set.
This is going to be a good one. Yeah, what crazy gods will they play next in the solo lane? Smite edition coming your way, guys. It's North America coming up next in a best of 3 to see who moves ahead in the standings.